So good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Partha and the scientific committee for the opportunity to share the story of Aravind with all of you here. As you all aware, Aravind was started as a 11-bedded hospital in a small hospital, in a small, actually residential area in the year 1976. Today, it has got about 7 tertiary care centers, 7 secondary eye care centers, and about 6 community eye care centers, which are basically outpatient clinics run by doctors, and about 108 primary eye care centers. We call them as vision centers. And together, we see anywhere between 17,000 to 18,000 outpatients a day and perform close to about 2,000 plus surgeries each day and conduct also on average about 8 to 10 outreach camps. In addition, there are also close to 200 residents and 200 fellows who also needs to be trained. And in addition to this patient care services and training, we also have a state-of-the-art basic science research facility and about 4 eye banks, which together contribute to close to 7,000 eyes. And there is a Lions Aravind Institute of Community Ophthalmology that works to promote the best practices which we have developed with other eye care centers, and also a oral lab which makes the affordable eye care products so that the services are accessible to everybody. So this is today, in addition to the hospital, we have the 3 other institutions and the eye banks, and there are over 6,000 staff and the trainees work at Aravind at this point of time. And in the last 45 years since starting the hospital, there has been a growth each year, at least 2 or 3% of the growth in the number of surgeries that have been performed. And I just would like to share, what got us here from based on our perspective. I'll share what got us here to this point of time. And this is driven by the vision of Dr. Venkatsamy, who really, to the heart, he wanted to eliminate needless blindness by providing quality eye care to all. And, he started this even after retirement, and from his services, he wanted to pursue his lifelong dream. And this vision also translated into certain organizational values. There are 7 major values, which we have distilled, from what has contributed to Aravind's growth, because we really wanted to know what we really need to focus on so that this growth becomes a ongoing growth. The first and the foremost important is how do we make eye care accessible to all. And I'll just read some of these values. The core of this vision is providing a comprehensive eye care to all, regardless of their ability to pay. And this vision also holds up a larger vision of searching out and then serving the patients who need the care, not just the patients who come to the hospital, but even those who are not coming to the hospital. And this value is in line with the universal health coverage as a national goal. So in addition to establishing hospitals from where our patients were coming so that they don't have to travel much, each of this facility have got a free and pay so that there is it's affordable to everybody, and the outpatient services are also open and work for nearly close to 10 hours. There is no appointment either for OP visit, investigation, or a surgery, which we feel could be a barrier for the people to access their services. All of this we have done to lower the threshold for the surgery. Similarly, we have opened the vision care centers in the villages so as to enhance the access, and also the outreach eye camps to people who are not seeking care, either to the hospital or the vision centers. All of this helps, the hospitals and the vision centers help to address the existing demand and the unmet need, and the undiagnosed need is kind of addressed by the outreach eye camps. So this is basically how we address the first value of the organization. The second is the quality and the continuous improvement. The core of this pillar is the quest for perfection. High quality has been a tall pillar defining character of Aravind since its inception. It's about tracking the metrics like infection rates, visual outcomes, patient satisfaction. A factor of growing importance is monitoring and continually improving. It's not about just monitoring, but also improving both the quality of the outcomes and other factors that will contribute to the quality. And the whole thing is the notion that Aravind continues to be a learning organization. If you are not going to be a learning organization, if you are not going to make a change, this growth is not going to happen. This is where we have developed a benchmarking system, a quality assurance registry for cataract. Is something similar we are developing for a glaucoma, trauma, and other procedures. Here we are tracking the outcomes of each of the surgery and also help the surgeon to benchmark themselves with others, and so that they can also develop themselves. And again, this kind of a tracking also helped us to reduce our complication rate to less than 1%, which is at par with most of the internationally set benchmarks. And again, this passion for reducing, giving a good quality, we were adopting whatever the new technologies, techniques for reducing the infection rate. And with the adoption of the intracameral antibiotics, we were able to bring down the incidence of endophthalmitis from 8 to 9 per 10,000 to about 2 per 10,000 surgeries, which means we have actually avoided 300 plus patients developing endophthalmitis for those who have undergone surgery in our hospital. The third principle is the patient centricity, which is putting the patient first. So the value is concerned with the process of answering two questions. One, what the patient wants, and what the patient needs. The first requires thinking like a patient and what will satisfy them. The second requires like an ophthalmologist, what will improve the eye health of the patient who's seeking care to us. And doing this with the compassion in a manner that maintains the patient dignity we will be able to achieve this particular goal. And based on this, we have come up with about 10 service goal, and each of that is dealt in a very detailed manner. The whole process and the key metrics is all being kind of put in place. The fourth important thing is self-reliance. Without this self-reliance, we will not be able to grow. The core of this pillar is building the capacity to do what is right. The principle is that Aravind will continue to draw from outside individuals and organizations, but not become dependent, and will cherish its capacity to make its own decision, because anytime you get any contribution from outside, it also comes with a certain tax. So Aravind will continue to find innovative solutions to problems that come in the way of its mission of delivering care to all. So all our infrastructures have been developed using the surplus income we have from the patient care. And we have also been training doctors and fellows over a period of time. And again, the ophthalmic nurses, close to now, this number is close to about 10,000. All this has helped us to man the expansion. So we are either for the monetary resources or human resources, we are not dependent on others. Similarly, the oral lab was established so as to bring down the cost and make the eye care affordable, not just for the people coming to Aravind, but across the country. And the other important value is the staff centricity. The core of this pillar is that staff matter. It rests on the belief that when a staff needs are considered, they'll respond more effectively and create synergy between the individual's aspirations and the organization goals. I mean, this is really important. Without the team, we will not be able to achieve. So, and there are a large number of staff welfare program. What is most important is we create really a good, healthy environment for the people to work in the organization. The value system really helps them to understand that. We also even encourage people to take up spiritual retreats, which are supported by the hospital. And if they are also spiritually aligned, they'll also be able to practice the values with the full belief. And the other important is the frugality. The core of the value is don't waste resources. So we really emphasize on good maintenance. We have about close to 60 plus instrument maintenance engineers in the organizations. We don't replace what can be repaired. And we also look at the cost. When we buy an equipment, we also look at what it is going to cost us to maintain that equipment. So there is a detailed study on that. And this mindset is also applies to the patient treatment. So we make sure that there is no unnecessary treatment. And we really emphasize as much as possible on a clinical diagnosis. We eliminate unnecessary tests. There are no waiting lists, or we minimize the whole length of the stay, because we also value the patient's resources. The multiple visits if they have to make for getting rid of addressing one particular problem, it's going to cost some money. The last important principle is the sharing. The core of this pillar is to help others be more effective in eliminating needless blindness. The principle is to put this mission even sometimes ahead of the organization. Sometimes we may be finding it difficult to manage ourselves, but if there is a request from others, we really respond to that. And this is where the Lions Aravind Institute of Community Ophthalmology was started in 1992, promote and share the best practices with others, because we truly believe that if we want to eliminate needless blindness, we need to go beyond Aravind. So as a result, today we work with over 354 partner hospitals in 29 countries, and we can say that nearly 1 million surgeries is being done by these hospitals from what they were doing at the baseline. And again, this translated to training. Other than the postgraduates and the fellows, we have trained about 3,400 plus ophthalmologists and short-term training, and about close to 4,000 international trainees. So to conclude, so the building Aravind or any organization is about developing the right perspective and practicing, putting in place the right values. And again, it also about defining the boundaries, what we do and whom we serve. So Aravind went beyond serving the patients. No, we went into service sector, we went into research, we went into developing the capacity of other organizations. And sustaining this growth is also depending upon how do we have the trust of the organization, the staff, the people whom we serve, the community, and also the other partner organizations, hospitals. And all that will come only if the whole practice is transparent, if there's an equity, and it has to be really based on empathy and compassion. Thank you very much.
Very much. Sir, would you just stay on the podium? And it's my privilege to ask someone like Dr. Arup Chakravarti. Arup, you were at Aravind for a very long time. What did Aravind do to you? If you can just sum up in 2 sentences. I know you've got great power of comprehension. I know it's a huge, you could take days to say that, but in 2 sentences, what can you sum up?
See, during my our stay at Aravind, I speak on behalf of most of the alumni. As we are imbibing the various qualities, the skills, etc., we never realized the metamorphosis, the transformation that we're going through. It's only when we leave the campus of Aravind and then face day-to-day life, then we really, we can we feel empowered, and really, the 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 grilling, everything that we went through, and that helps us to stand the test of time. So it's basically, as the distance grows in terms of time, you feel more and more indebted to the institute. I think I speak on behalf of most of the alumni. Amit is here. I think you'll
So
also
I'll take a
concur with
quick
me.
word from Amit also. So Amit, what special value did Arvind instill into you?
Thank you, Pata. So basically, sorry to share some personal things. I went to Arvind without attending a single OT during my graduation day. I was like a local gunda in my city. But when I went to Arvind, they made me human. Principles, quality, discipline. Morning 6:45, you have to enter the OT. You have to follow the protocols. You have to show empathy towards your colleagues, towards the nursing staff, the way the nursing staff is dedicated, and they also teach us various steps of surgeries and prescription writing, everything. Not only this, I mean, our personal problems we used to share with our teachers, mentors at Arvind. That also was guided in such a way. So, in nutshell, Arvind is an organization which is based on discipline and values, and they make every human being human.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll share my quick one story which I keep on telling everyone. When I went to Arvind as a RCSB fellow, I went there with my little daughter and Munidipa, and Arup knows that, and we were there together for a brief while. And I was inspired by Arvind always. I wanted to see exactly everything how it works. But what Dr. Venkateswamy sir did for my family is he inspired my wife to think about ophthalmology and ophthalmic practice. And it was a, an art student getting transformed into somebody who now takes up the supervision of hospitals. So that's what the inspiration is all about. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Please change over. So we now come to the story of Shankar Nethralaya, and we have Dr. Girish Rao to speak about Shankar Nethralaya. Shankar Nethralaya, as we all know, is a non-profit, not-for-profit missionary institution for ophthalmic care in the name of Shankar Nethralaya. And Shankara is a reference to God, Lord Shiva, and Nethralaya means the temple of the eye. Girish is the president of Medical Research Foundation, and he received his medical graduate degrees from SETG Medical College in Mumbai and his postgraduate degree from Medical Research Foundation. And Girish and I were together at Shankar Nethralaya at the same time. Girish, please.
Thanks, Dr. Partha and the scientific committee for this invite. If I were to sum up the story of Shankar Nethralaya, it can be the story of Dr. Badrinath. Shankar Nethralaya was Dr. Badrinath, and the story of 4 decades has been his growth, his journey in Indian ophthalmology. So way back in the 70s, it was on the call of the Mahapariva of Kanchi that Dr. Badrinath gave up his idea of going back to the US to set up his practice there, and he stayed back in Chennai, and along with like-minded philanthropists, he set up Shankar Nethralaya on 6th of September 1978. And the image that you see on the down is actually the handwritten letter of intent that was given to the charity commissioners. So from a very humble beginning, way back in 78, with a campus, again as modest as what Dr. Ravindan said about Arvind also. So very modest beginning. Over the years, it's been the vision of this visionary, vision, passion, empathy, self-knowledge, integrity, curiosity, all clubbed into one legendary personality, which also in the way helped him gain recognition both in terms of a Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan by the government of India. But I think if you were to sum up Shankar Nethralaya, it's very important to read the philosophy. And the philosophy, I'd like to just read it for the benefit of the crowd here. Let the word Shankara of Shankar Nethralaya ever remind me and my associates, His Holiness command that there be missionary spirit in the project. Let the word Nethralaya constantly remind me and my colleagues that the place of our work is an alaya, a temple. And work will be our workshop, and we shall do it with sincerity, dedication, and utmost love. I think this has been truly inspiring for generations of ophthalmologists and paramedical staff who have worked at Shankar Nethralaya. So there are people who have money and who seek ideas and strong teams. There are great teams which look for ideas and money. I think Shankar Nethralaya started off as a great idea, and we sought team and funding. And along the way, thanks to the grace of the Almighty and the dedication and hard work, we've reached where we have today. So, I mean, there are various milestones starting from the importance of creating a task force in addition to clinical service was felt way back in 79, and that's when the CUSHA ophthalmic postgraduate training program was started within a year of starting the hospital itself. And what is also very significant was the emphasis on optometry training. So Shankar Nethralaya realized that we need a strong paramedical force, especially the optometrists, to complement the work of the ophthalmologists. And that's why the elite school of optometry, the premium and probably the only optometry school at that time, along with the BITS Pilani, started. And now obviously we have many such programs running all over the country, and we are proud that most of our alumni are heading these places across the country. At one time, we had about 10 PhD optometrists in our system, which is again a very proud achievement for us. We were also among the first to have the Teleophthalmology Connect way back in 2003, along with the ISRO the need for reaching the unreached, as Dr. Ravindran said. So one way is to actually go to the community, set up centers, or have this model of teleophthalmology way back in 23. What is also very unique was looking at treating some of the patients who were neglected. And one such path-breaking surgery was the OOKP, or the osteoodontokeratosis. In other words, a tooth for an eye. Again, very niche. Probably the numbers in a year would be only 8 to 10. But these are actually patients who had devastating complications due to acid burns for no fault of theirs, who were totally blind. And Dr. Badrinath felt that we need to do something, not just for the run of the mill cataract, but even the other extreme, the rarest of the rare cases. And along the way, we did expand, we did venture into newer territories. The Northeast has been one of the, I would say, a pillar of support for Shankar Nethralaya for years together. And not just ophthalmology, they do come in hordes to visit Apollo Hospital, the CMC Vellore. And so that's why they felt a need to open up a center in Kolkata, and that's what was did way back in 2007. And research obviously was not very structured till then, but the emphasis was always there in doing India-centric research. And way back in 2008, we set up the Kamal Nayan Bajaj Institute of Research for Basic Sciences. Also, something unique to Shankar Nethralaya was the setting up of a mobile eye hospital. And Shankar Nethralaya right now is the only institute in the country which has the central government approval for conducting such mobile camps, wherein 2 buses go to the village. One of the bus is an operation theater, the other is a preparatory vehicle. And within a period of 2 weeks, do about 250 to 300 surgeries, which is also an important event, because there are still a group of patients who cannot come to the hospital. Even if we provide them the transport, even if we take care of all of the logistics, they still do not have the drive or the support to take even that last step. So this is the last mile connectivity that Shankar Nethralaya looked at. Obviously, patient care, irrespective of the socioeconomic caste or the social standing of the patient, has always been the core of Shankar Nethralaya, as has been for most of the not-for-profit organizations. Shankar Nethralaya has a host of firsts along the decades, and one of the ways of providing premium care was always being at the edge of the, or one step ahead in the cutting edge technology. And along the way, as this technology evolved in ophthalmology, Nethralaya embraced it so as to provide the premium care to the patient, as well as provide training to the next generation of ophthalmologists in use of these technology. Reaching out to community is very important, and while continuing with all the rural camps, the school screenings, the mobile vans, the refraction vans, the diabetic retinopathy programs, and the mobile eye surgical unit, which I just spoke about, it has been very important and integral part, not only to reach the unreached, but also to work, provide a platform for our postgraduate training programs. And this is the mobile surgical unit, which we developed along with IIT Madras. Now we have 2 such units, one operating out of Tamil Nadu, covering Telangana and Andhra Pradesh also, and the other one in Jharkhand along with the Tata Trust. And we have done 25,000 surgeries. The surgical complication rate or the surgical success rate is no different from what we do at our tertiary center in Chennai. And that's been something very satisfying. As I said, academics has been very integral part. Way back in 79, we set up the CUSHA academic program. Initially, it was the DO and the DNP program, and now we have also the MS program, which is in the system. And at any given point, we have about close to 100 residents either undergoing fellowship training or the postgraduate training. And also along this, we have also the optometry program going on. The Elite School of Optometry, as I said, is one of the premium institutes. Unfortunately, due to the change in the university laws, we needed to part ways with IIT, with BITS Pilani, and now we are partnering with Shastra University for running this program. There is also a need to train the paramedics. As I said, one of the main drawbacks is the manpower cost and the availability of manpower itself. And then that need was felt, and that's why the Shankar Nethralaya Academy was set up to train all the paramedicals, whether it's in laboratory sciences or in administration. E-learning was recognized way back about 2 decades ago, and that's why every class of Shankar Nethralaya is recorded live. It can be accessed on YouTube or on the website. As I said, a dedicated research has been the core of Shankar Nethralaya, and specifically looking at India-centric research. And Shankar Nethralaya was the first to have the patented chip for the PCR chip for detecting intraocular infections, whether it's a virus, fungus, and all this can be done in a matter of few hours, and you don't need to wait for the culture report after 72 hours or longer. This research has also helped us in being at the cutting edge of publications, and over the years we have more than 2,500 peer-reviewed publications and multiple books and chapters being published, which is a matter of pride for us. And if you add the publications of our alumni, this would be in multiple folds going forward. So the reason behind Shankar Nethralaya's sustained growth has obviously been the top talent. Retention of this talent also very equally important. Have the operational efficiency, less of red tapeism in the decision making. Obviously, Dr. Badrinath, a once in a lifetime leader, and more importantly, identifying the team to go forwards. We have had contributions from all our partners, could be corporates, individual donors, NGOs, all of them have a role in our growth. We've also partnered with like-minded institutes, the Shankar Deva Nethralaya in Guwahati, Sri Ganpati Nethralaya in Jalna, who have followed our philosophy, and they are doing human services in their respective fields. We also have a fundraising arm in the US, an independent entity called the Shankar Nethralaya USA, which does the fundraising, and then this helps us reach the unreachable and also helps us in keeping our costs down. Obviously, all this has resulted in Shankar Nethralaya being recognized consistently among the best run eye hospitals in India, and Dr. Badrinath being recognized as one of the 25 greatest living legends in India by the NDTV. We've had various dignitaries walk through our portals, and they are testament of the work that Shankar Nethralaya does is a reward, just as we see a satisfied patient walk out of the hospital at the end of even a simple cataract surgery or just with a glass prescription. So thanks to all the 2,000 plus staff who have helped us in this journey. Thank you.
Stay there, Girish. And we'll ask none other than Dr. S. Natarajan. Sir, you've been trained by Dr. Badrinath. You're his favorite, all-time favorite, and you continue to be. So what is it that you carried from Shankar Nethralaya? And that would have to be summed up in just about 2 minutes, sir.
Anyway, I'm fortunate. I told Dr. Badrinath when I joined him. I knew him as a school student. I'm happy I moved with Dr. Venkateswamy because my grandfather was eye doctor, and my father and then with Dr. Badrinath. I think as Amit told that I think we learned the great philosophy how to be with the most humble when you achieve the maximum. And I think he taught there's nothing to be afraid for anything in vitreoretinal surgery in 1984. So he said you have to have a lion's heart and hands like the Bharatanatyam dancer's fingers. It has to speak
and that's what I think we learned. And whatever I am today, I'm glad we got the highest award in RO, and also now in the ICO. Everything I dedicated to Dr. Badrinath, and that's why I call SN as S. Natarajan and S. Shankar Nethralaya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course, Dr. Ramurthy is also a fellow and has been a consultant at Shankar Nethralaya. So while you are talking, sir, I'm sure you're going to dwell upon Shankar Nethralaya and the contribution. Thank you very much, Girish. Change over, please. Change over, please. So we now come to the story of Center for Sight. And Center for Sight has been and established with a mission to provide the best quality of comprehensive eye care with a personal touch. It has gradually established itself as one of the best eye hospitals in India. We have Dr. Mahipal Sachdev, sir, and chairman of Center for Sight Group of Eye Hospitals, the past president of AIOS, and awarded Padma Shri by Government of India. Mahipal sir has been a teacher, has been a mentor, and has been one of the most important presidents in the COVID times for AIOS. Sir, all this helps.
Thank you very much, Partha, for the kind introduction. And thank you very much for getting me over to talk about the story of Center for Sight as to how we made it. Well, I would say that a man without education is like a building without a foundation, and the education really started at modern school. I've always had long stints of work wherever I was, so I spent 13 years in school. Not that I failed twice, but we had two kindergartens, KG1, KG2, going on to junior school and then senior school. And that is where I think our principal always used to stress on all round development. And the foundations were laid there, I would say, for whatever we are today. And then came the year of reckoning. There are a lot of people who are from Shankar Nethralaya here, but I spent more than, again, 20 years in All India Institute of Medical Sciences from 76 to 96. And that's where it all started. And just a reminiscence, we have an old group, and just last week the paper cutting in which the results of the 35 candidates selected for All India Institute were kind of put around in the group, so that is nostalgic. But I think All India Institute of Medical Sciences still ranks among the top medical colleges in the world. I think that's one of the few medical colleges in India which has a ranking globally. And that is where it all started. And I felt that this is the place where we actually blossomed, where you could do almost everything, because you had all the types of patients and you had all the types of technology. So it wasn't that you didn't have technology, and that is where we looked at. And my first choice for post graduation was ophthalmology. And 1982 January went into RP Center, and this is how RP Center was at that particular time. But what we saw there was super specialization in ophthalmology. I think Professor L.P. Agarwal, who created RP Center, was the first to introduce super specialization in ophthalmology in India. And we could see the greatest masters, and just watching the masters as to how they would do a particular procedure, how a small movement of their wrist or of their fingers, etc., they could get the best results. And that was something which was really fantastic. And obviously we had the various equipment to do that. But then all of you know, there is a tipping point that comes in everybody's life. Very well established youngest person to become a faculty in year 87, even before I completed my senior residency. But then I went on a sabbatical to Georgetown University. And what is come today, like all of us are doing myopography, we have papers in investigative ophthalmology. Natti talked about ARVO, etc. And those were the days when we had papers on how to do infrared myopography, etc. And we worked on the confocal microscope. But I would say that everyone has a tipping point, and the tipping point was Dwight Kavanagh, though I was with him only for 1 year. He was aiming for a Nobel Prize at that particular time with this work on the endothelium and on the confocal microscope, and that really stirred me. That is this my reckoning, that I would just stay back, become a faculty, maybe become a director or something in the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, because there is enough and more politics in every institution in India. And can we not create something which is when we can do something much more and create an institution bigger than your name? And that is when I would say that when you step out of your comfort zone, and the comfort zone was the glass tower of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where I would say that almost everyone wants to be as a faculty. I had been there. My parents were dead against it, but then thought that I'll get out of it. Indraprastha Apollo Hospital was coming, and that's when I left the job, put in my papers in 1996, and that's the starting of the CFS vision. The vision actually at that time entailed that there was significant lack of super specialty niche ophthalmic in North India. All the we just had a talk on Shankar Netralaya, so whether it is Arvind Shankar Netralaya or later on Shankara, etc., or Eye Foundation, they are all located in south of India. LV Prasad for that matter, and there wasn't anything in the private sector which was there, or in the NGO space. There was obviously RP Center and Guru Nanak and PGI, but they were all in the government center. And you know that there are obviously the problems that you have in the government. So the foresight at that particular time was that there is no player in the corporate center which was giving super specialized eye care, and we needed to build an institution for the future and move beyond cataract clinics, which majority of the people were just cataract clinics. And the other important thing was how to run a business. At the end of the day, wealth creation, to reinvest in technology, because we have never sought out funds as maybe Shankar Netralaya has. We have never taken a single rupee as a donation from anybody. So you have to have a business which has to run. And the clear ideology was institution above self, and excellence above quick profit, and the first movers in technology. That is something very important. So what I craved for, and the vision that was there, was to create a platform for excellence and an opportunity to lead with cutting edge technology. Phacoemulsification and LASIK were two things with which I stepped out when I left All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and my gut was that these two are going to be path breaking technologies, and we wanted to create a platform to make a difference, and the purpose was to create an institution much bigger than yourself. Now, one important thing whenever you set up for all these things is to do a SWOT analysis. And a SWOT analysis, if you write down and do a SWOT analysis, that is very important. What are your strengths? You have to play on your strengths. You have to seize the opportunities that are there, and you should try to overcome your weaknesses, but never play on a weak ground. Like, I have never said that I will go and do a cataract surgery at 2000 rupees and make money, because that's not my strength. That is somebody else's strength. Dr. RDR is sitting there, and that itself is a business model. So, but the point is, what is your strength? You need to play on that, and what are the threats that you have? So SWOT analysis is very important. And as I often say, that when all of us who have written publications, it's very easy to write materials methods, it's very easy to write the results. You can also write the conclusion, but the most difficult part is to write the abstract and then give the one line title, because that sums up everything as to what it is. So therefore, this is something very important, that you have to, in a one page or half a page, write as to what you want to do and what are your strengths, etc. And then you need to be standing out to be outstanding, and that is something important. That phacoemulsification became a thing that we thought was going to happen. There were if we were two speakers, there were two people listening, and the next speaker would be, say, coming up to speak. So that is what phacoemulsification was. I still remember the Jaipur AIOC, that where the four of us were speaking and the thing. But that is your instinct and your guts, that is what it is. And phacoemulsification and LASIK were two things that we looked at, and gone to every nook and corner of India to do live surgery demonstrations, and wrote the first book. I think that is something that was there. And the next big leap was to, even though came from a middle class family, parents were good, but I didn't have a wealth. So I just took the big step of starting on with laser vision correction, and these two things got us the revenue, got us the money, and got us the technology. So what is important is, I don't know, I've shown this slide before, but youngsters sitting there, how many of you recognize who this guy is? Sorry? Vasavada? So anyway, sorry, I can't hear. So this is not Neil Armstrong. All of you will remember Neil Armstrong. This is Buzz Aldrin. He's the second guy who put the step on the moon, and nobody remembers that he's the second guy who's put the step on the moon. So the important thing is that you have to be a leader in technology and a technology that works. So that is something very important. And during the gold rush, it is a good time to be in the pick and shovel business also. So you need not be only at the technology, but you can also work around it wherever there are things that you can get. Now, the most important thing I can say is that apart from technology, the second important thing, or maybe that could be the first in order, was to build a team. Right from the outside, I went hunting, fishing, whatever you want to go, poaching, catching people from All India Institute of Medical Sciences who were the very best. The first to join me was somebody from Arvind, Walter Mascarans, and then Avnindra Gupta. But after that, we had Dr. Harsh Kumar coming in for glaucoma. We had Lalit Verma. We had Dinesh Talwar. We have my teachers, Dr. Prem Prakash coming in, Dr. Dada coming in, Dr. Pradeep Sharma. So the point is that our hunt has always been unending. So whether we look at Santosh Anovar, whether we look at Ajit Babu, Mukesh, so we have always, you can make great people out of anybody, and that we are making. That is the second rung that we are doing. But to initially start, you have to have the very best, and that is what it is, that you don't build a business, you build people, and then people build the business for you. So doctor centric model where doctors play their destiny. I have always invested on doctors, which has been different from other corporates where they have not invested that heavily into doctors. Technology and doctors investment and the super specialty approach is what we have. Just to show you a couple of people, we have two ex-major journals, Parihar and Dr. Sagarika, etc. with us. And once you have a team that is there, the fist versus the power of five, you have to be giving. And in giving, you have to make the next generation grow, and you have to give them surgery and a free hand. I do not restrict even a single instrument, equipment. A fellow of mine can do a femtocataract. It is not that a fellow cannot. It is if they know the technique and they can do it, pretty well do it, and do that, and let us work together as a group. You have to constantly keep working on yourself, and that is what we have done at Center for Sight, that we have always tried to excel in what we are doing. And it is always WIP, work in progress, that you are always working and making a brand. Most of the people you have seen who have grown have not put their name in front of the brand. That was a very myopic thing when people put their own name before it, that it is Ramkumar Eye Center or XYZ Eye Center, because that becomes a rate limiting step. Whenever you have a neutral name, people love to come and work, and they can say that, okay, we are working. And the establishment of a brand wherever you are is something which is very important. But the image, mission, values, and vision have to be clearly described, and that has to go down percolate down to the people that you are. Now, one important thing is that you have to make your presence felt, whether it be on CMEs, lectures, seminar, public lectures, digital presence, etc. You have to reach out to people, and in this information age, information technology should be easily made available to you. uh, Successful brand creation it's always, again, it's a work in progress, and that has been something where we have looked at and constantly endeavored to make a brand. And brand recall, customer assurance, today you can see brands after COVID are really growing, whether it be in the super specialty space or in ophthalmology. The growth of brands has been very significant, those who signify something, and that is what you have. You have to give the super specialty care, give identity to the products, and set the price which you are worth. Future is going to be very, very disruptive. That's what I see. Artificial intelligence it's working much faster than any one of us thought. And you have to embrace technology, and technology is going to evolve very fast. And for that, creation of wealth is something very important, because you have to be able to buy technology. And technology adaptation cycle is always there. When you adopt a technology, you are going to have people who are going to be the naysayers. Majority of them are going to be naysayers. And I have said this before, when we started phacoemulsification, they said, what hell does a patient need early rehabilitation for? You get wound burns, you get iris chafing, you get nucleus drop. Why should you do phacoemulsification? This was newspaper cuttings, and in Times of India it came. like LASIK, not fit for Indian eyes. So you will have to go through that if you are an early innovator. You have to look at it, get early adoption and early majority, and then when the late majority and the laggards come in, you have established yourself as numero uno or the leader at that particular time, and that is where we have. So we have gone through FACO, we have gone through SMILE. Education is something very important. Fellowship, DNB, giving back to society, ophthalmic community is something important. R&D also has contributed significantly. In-house institutional today, we are proud to say that the silk technology of Elita that has come, we were the first center in the entire global world to do studies on that, and we are getting international recognition for that. Training in research, methodology, analysis, thesis, etc. is important. One final thing, two final things I'll wish to say is that success is an antithesis to taking risks. If you are not if you are always going to be risk averse, you are never going to make it big. Your progress will be there, but things will be slow. So risk reward is an antithesis. So you have to risk doing it. And this was a fructification of 22-year-old dream, 90,000 square feet facility that we have. And today, 2023, we are across 15 states, 77 centers, 14 states and UTs which are there. The count has gone up to 184 doctors now, 70% surgical revenue that we have. And one other thing that Center for Sight has always believed in is the word Kaizen, which is Japanese, which stands for two Kai and Zen, and which is change for the good. That means small incremental steps, but all these steps should be changing towards the good that is there. But work will work when nothing else works. This is the story of Dashrath Manji, who could make a road through his bare hands, cutting through hills. So you have to be very hardworking. You still have to be the first to come into the center and be the last to go and lead from the front. Still working 14 hours a day, though I'm reaching 65. But the goals and the accomplishment are all based on the bridge of self-discipline. Discipline in your team, in the entire workforce of Center for Sight has been something very important. And this is Partha, sorry, last 1 minute. Can you give the volume, please?
Should stand for a culture of excellence. The excellence not by accident.
Volume,
It
please.
is a process where an individual
Connected
continuously
in
strives to better oneself.
Can
Prepared to take calculated risk.
okay. So this is Kalam Saab. I think he's a favorite for all of us.
You should stand for a culture of excellence. The excellence not by accident. It is a process where an individual continuously strives to better oneself. The performance standards are set by themselves. They work on their dreams with focus and are prepared to take calculated risk and do not get deterred by failures as they move towards their dreams. Then they step up their dreams as they tend to reach the original targets. They strive to work to their potential. In the process, they increase their performance, thereby multiplying further their potential. This is an unending life cycle phenomena, culture of excellence. They are not in competition with anyone else but themselves. That is a culture of excellence. I'm sure each one of you will aspire to become a unique with culture of excellence. To get a unique you, it's a big battle. The battle means you don't need to take a gun. The battle means you have to have four unique things. Four unique tools you must have in that battle. One is you have to set the goal. The second one is acquire the knowledge continuously. And third one, it's a hard work with the devotion. And fourth is perseverance. Question is whether you want to be you or everybody else.
So friends, that is the story of perseverance and Center for Sight. Thank you very much for the kind opportunity. Thank you.
It's really wonderful to have you here. You've been my teacher for LASIK, you've been my teacher for femto LASIK, and you've been my teacher for femto cataract as well. Thank you very much, sir. Please change over. Now we have another teacher, and that is the story of Eye Foundation, Dr. D. Ramamurthy. The Eye Foundation Hospital is a network of hospitals in southern India. It is a chain of 10, you'll have to correct me there, I'm sure it's much more than 10, tertiary care eye hospitals located in Coimbatore, Bangalore, Kochi, Tripur, Uti, Mettipalam, Pollichi, and Erode. Dr. D. Ramamurthy is the chairman of the Eye Foundation and worked as Vitreretina consultant under Dr. S.S. Badrinath at Chennai for 2 years. Past president of AIOS and a person who is not only very dear to all of us at AIOS, but a personal friend, and we learned phakic IOLs together at one point of time. Sir, please. One of the AV people just come over this side, please. So while Dr. Ramurthy is getting ready, the next story is the story of Disha Eye Hospital. Disha Eye Hospital is 18 eye hospitals in West Bengal, and Disha does approximately 1.5 lakh surgeries a year and treats around 12 lakh patients a year. Dr. Devashish Bhattacharya is founder chairman of Disha Eye Hospitals in West Bengal, past president of All India Ophthalmological Society, and he's one person who has made eye surgery available to the common man and a dignified approach for every common person who can afford. Dr. Devashish Bhattacharya, sir.
In a bigger premises with more consulting rooms, and I also involved a few more doctors, like a group practice, more facilities. And turning point, of course, was refractive surgery, where when I invested in the first Bausch & Lomb Technolas 217 in end of 99, and when Bangalore, there were not many good machines. PRK was being done in the Better Sight Center, and then that was a turning point in the practice adoption of this technology, where I was able to offer good refractive surgery to my patients. Of course, I started off refractive surgery with RK when I started my practice in 97, 94. This is our Shraddha Eye Care Trust, which we started in a small clinic just to run OPD, and we used to bring patients for surgery and operate them free of cost. Of course, we needed patients cases for our fellows also. And then we expanded the trust hospital to Padmanabh Nagar, and that's the inauguration by the governor and Anil Kumble. And it serves the community with the radius of about 200 kilometers around Bangalore. We have buses where we bring and then operate them, and today we do over 10,000 free cataract surgeries every year. And we have one more branch which we have just started at Vasant Nagar, state-of-the-art facility with 5 operation theaters and specialty clinics. And in 2003, we started the Netradama Super Specialty Eye Hospital, bigger premises, inaugurated by Dr. Badrinath. And then, of course, next to that, we started the OPD clinic, OPD block with an exclusive phacorefractive OPD and refractive clinic. And these are our various centers. We also started the Netradama School of Optometry in 2010, and which is quite popular. And we have basically lived through the evolution of cataract and refractive surgery. That's my first quantum phaco machine, and then you can see how we have evolved to the AMO Sovereign and the Signature, and then the Stellaris, the Alcon Centurion, and then the latest is the Quaterra 700, the Quaterra 700 from Zeiss. I was involved in the development of this equipment from 2015, and that's the first installation in the globe. We also have the Heads Up RTO800, which was again the first installation in the globe, and also femtocataract, both the catalyst and the lensar, and also refractive surgery from the Bosch & Lomb Technolas 217 to Zyoptics to the AMO, Visex Custom View, Intralace, Schwind Amaris, then the Visumax, and now with the Visumax 800, the first installation in India and one of the 5 centers globally to conduct the clinical trials. I was awarded the honorary doctorate, Doctor of Science by the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences in 2014, and the FRCS, honorary FRCS in 2018 from Glasgow. We got the ISO certification in 2005 and the NABH accreditation in 2008. We were the first eye hospital in India to have the ISO 9001 standards and the NABH accreditation for full hospital standards. And at present, we have eye care organization accreditation in 3 branches. And we have also been awarded a lot of the quality awards, FICCI in 2010, AHPI awards for most patient-friendly eye hospital, IMC RBNQI awards, DL Shah awards. These are all national awards for quality, which we have got. Many clinical awards also. A few to mention are the Oscaris Gold Medal, Colonel Rangachari Award, the ACRS 2016 Film Festival. I have some innovations also which I made. Tissue addition for hyperopia and keratoconus using smile lenticules, which we call FILI. I also have a patent for a swivel haptics capsulotomy fixated IOL, which we plan to commercialize. The toric IOL marker for small pupils when we are implanting toric IOLs, ICL manipulators, smile instruments, the cystitome maker, which is going to be published shortly. We have over 75 publications in national and international journals. We have a postgraduate DNB program. We have long-term fellowships affiliated to the university in phaco-refractive, vitreoretina, glaucoma, comprehensive ophthalmology. We also have short-term fellowship programs for phaco. It's the Phaco Shala. We also conduct a lot of SMILE programs for international candidates, train people from all over the world in SMILE, medical retina, even a short-term SICS program. We also have optometry internship and observerships, and we have a BSc optometry in a school of optometry. Our long-term fellowship programs course duration is 24 months, and for phaco-refractive we take 6 seats every half yearly, and short-term we have a 1 month phaco training, 1 month SICS program. And we have been conducting a lot of programs for postgraduates. One of the popular programs that we have started is called the Nerd's Eye View, and we have this every quarter where there are no lectures or seminars, but only practical training in various equipment and wet labs. And we also conduct CME and conferences regularly. Our phaco festival, which we conduct once in 2 years, is quite popular. And that is our team of Netradama. We have about 40 full-time doctors. So the future of Netradama, what I envision is best patient outcomes, best patient experience, organic growth. We don't have any funding, but it is an organic growth, and digitalization and practical research, innovation, adopting cutting edge technology, and also giving back to society. So these are some of our vision and mission statement. Vision is leadership in the eye care domain. Mission is vision care par excellence. And our values are teamwork, respect, integrity, and compassion. Our motto is Shraddha hi Paramagati hi. And so with that, as a small introduction to our story of Netradama. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Sri Ganesh, for a wonderful story.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sri Ganesh. Dr. Ramurthy sir, we'll have you, and can you kindly begin?
Thank you, Dr. Partha, for this unique honor and to be counted as among the doyens in ophthalmology. Actually, I'm not going to be talking about how exactly we built our hospitals or how many beds we have or what we'll be doing. I'm going to be more concentrating on my learnings as an entrepreneur, or an ophthalmologist entrepreneur. Basically, we started out in this very small clinic in this town of Tirupur. This was all the space we had, about 200 square feet, and slowly we have, that was about 35 years back, and then we have progressed on. As you can see here, right now we have about 19 branches spread across Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. And there are certain basic tenets that we observed during this growth story, and which had a lot of challenges, lot of learnings. I hope it's not really relevant to the seniors sitting in front, but I do see some juniors, and maybe there's something for them to learn from them. I think two people who had a great impact as far as my uh, vision is concerned is one is Dr. S.S. Badrinath, under whom I had the good fortune to be trained in. And it was not just ophthalmology I learned from him. I just did a year of fellowship and I worked in SN as a consultant for a year. But the very approach to life, the very approach to dealing with people, daring to dream and striving hard to achieve it. Just dreaming alone is not enough, but going ahead and doing your very best to achieve that is most important. I am well aware that both Dr. Badrinath and Sri Narayan Murthy, who was seen at the my Coimbatore Hospital's inauguration in this picture, uh, they had fairly modest beginnings, and by their own confession, they're not outstanding students or anything, but they had the moral fiber, the integrity, the drive to be the best in what they chose and ended up achieving it. It's essentially people like them who have once inspired me. And I always maintain this. I said it in the morning also. I've always felt that you have to have some unique selling proposition. You might find those four girls in front a little more attractive, but the one who is at the back is the one you're going to remember, simply because she's different. And I believe that we always had to have a unique selling proposition, and that's where something by which you can differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. And this started way back in 1984 when I started my first clinic in Tirupur and subsequently in Coimbatore. This is the first argon laser, and that itself was a big thing at that point of time because people had to travel either to Madurai or to Chennai for their treatment. And the very fact that we had this facility to offer locally was something which was considered, which brought in patients not just for the retinal treatment, but for cataract, refractive error treatment, and the whole gamut of ophthalmology. Went ahead and invested a couple of crores in a LASIK machine in 1997. I think that was a huge step for us because it was unheard of for a couple to invest about $500,000 on an instrument like this, which was relatively untested at that point of time. But the fact that we could offer something beyond what our peers could offer brought in patients for all-round ophthalmology, and I think this has been our tenet right through our growth so far. In the sense, it's not just with one equipment or one instrument or one building. Being always at cutting edge of technology, trying to cover the entire gamut of ophthalmology, using tried and tested techniques and getting the best of talent to deliver it has helped us to grow. And our latest addition is not that doing a femtosecond LASIK or a femto cataract is something new, but the concept for the first time in the world, I'm told, we have a mobile unit which is taken around to 6 of our different centers. Each day of the week is taken to a center, and our examer laser has been enabled to perform femtocataract as well as something like a smile procedure called the clear procedure. And we have been doing it for the last couple of months. I do feel that this has enhanced our capabilities. And I always maintain that satisfaction leads to stagnation. So never let your passion for growth die. And it's once you feel that you have reached the zenith, then obviously there's no further path ahead for you. It's extremely important to stay relevant, keep reinventing yourself. These are the brands that we grew up with. They're day to day. We never heard the photostat, it was always Xerox. And BlackBerry was considered an essential successful person's possession. But today they are all completely gone out of vogue simply because unless you reinvent and stay with the times, then you become irrelevant. So 80% of the Fortune 500 companies that existed in 1965 are gone today. They are bankrupt or merged. And only 30% of the family businesses make it to the second generation. So obviously, it's extremely important that you just don't rest on our laurels, but keep trying to grow forward. And every time I had a new idea, even when I wanted to leave Shankar Nethralaya, where I was extremely comfortable, very well taken care of, wanted to start a practice in a small town like Tirupur, there were many naysayers. Why do you want to risk it? Do you think it will be successful? Every time I wanted to start a new center, buy a new equipment, there's always market research, there's always statistics, data which told you, with well meaning friends telling you, do you really want to do it? But finally, it's your gut feeling, your ability to take a calculated chance and a risk is what essentially matters at the end of the day, and that has been our differentiating point right through. And I always felt that I have learnt a lot from my failures. It's not just from a surgical failure of dropping a nucleus or dropping a lens, but even certain decisions that we took. I did mention this in the morning also. We did have an outreach center in a very nice hospital in a multi-specialty center in Kerala, not just about 100 kilometers away. But that didn't really work for us. We kept trying to make it successful for about a couple of years and cut our losses and went away. This told me this is a model which is not going to work for me, and I have kept stuck to this principle right through, where I do not go up and set up a small clinic in a multi-speciality hospital where this focus is really not ophthalmology, but they have other things ahead in their agenda. And I've always felt that integrity is most important. You have heard the growth stories ahead of me. And one thing which is not the hallmark of each and every one has been the integrity, their honesty. You might advertise, you might do digital marketing, but finally, it's the word of mouth referrals from one patient to another, which leads to a success of any ophthalmic institution. And as far as you are true to your patients, true to your employees, take care of them, that's where the success lies. And this is now we have about more than 1,000 employees. This photograph is about 12 years back. But I do not think my achievement is in the buildings we have built or the hospital, the equipment that we have acquired, but the team that we have been able to put together, and with a common goal, with a common purpose, and each one of them, not just the consultants, but each employee thinking that he or she has a growth story, has an individual potential to grow in the organization that they have come into. And once they feel so, then they feel involved and they have a common vision. They share a common vision that leads to the growth of the institution as such. I always maintain that I take care of my employees and they take care of my patients in my hospitals. I think, irrespective of how big you think is, how big your organization is, constantly trying to take care of patients, not just under the surgical table, but at every aspect, right from the time they step in to the time they walk out of the portals of your hospital. Not just the patient alone, but the attendant also is extremely important. And our entire focus is delivering an experience that will knock the socks off for every patient who visits our hospital. I always maintain this, and whether it's infrastructure, whether it is equipment, or most importantly, quality of personnel. If you pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys. So you have to pay the right price for the right quality. The contrast is not essentially true in the sense that it does not mean that you pay a high price and you will always get a good quality. So trying to identify excellent quality, and I believe that the greatest asset, as I mentioned, is the manpower that we have. And once you have that and you have the right infrastructure, then constantly reinventing yourself and trying to grow is the way to go forward. And in Coimbatore, we are surrounded by excellent hospitals, each one of them doing better than the other. I have no control over how well they perform. But then my constant ambition is to go one step ahead of what we did the previous year, whether it be the number of publications that we have, the quality of personnel that we have, the performance of the opticals, the number of LASIK procedures that we have, the turnover that we have, the EBITDA calculation. Each of these things is compared with the previous year's performance. And our constant competition is ourselves, and that's how we have fashioned our growth story so far. You might have all listened to all this, and I'm not sure how many of the youngsters sitting here are truly enthused by this. I would like to leave you behind with a small anecdote I heard from a very good friend of mine in Bangalore, who said that he does 4 surgeries per week, an excellent surgeon. That happened about 15 years back. And he has a waiting list of about 2 months for his, say, at that point of time. Nowadays, of course, there are a lot of surgeons who are coming. He said, "Why are you doing this?" He was working only 4 days a week. He said, "Why are you doing this? Why don't you operate a little more, take care of your patients? You can earn a lot more. Why are you wasting your time?" He said, "If I work for more than 4 half days a week, I think I'm wasting my time. This working 4 half days a week is good enough for me to take care of my family, my needs. I enjoy my music, I enjoy my golf, I enjoy my holidays. I think you are wasting your time." I'm still not sure at the end of these 3.5 decades of my practice of ophthalmology whether he's right or I am right. And so it's not just one route for each and every one of you. There are excellent experiences that you have earned right through the session, but you have to pick and choose what's the path that you want and how much time you want to just allot for ophthalmology and strike the right kind of work-life balance so that at the end of the day you feel that you have lived a very worthwhile life. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Sir, thank you very much. And before Dr. Bhalla introduces Dr. Rohit Shetty and the next story, I would feel privileged to invite on stage Dr. R.D. Ravindran sir on stage as chairperson, and Dr. G.N. Rao sir. Dr. G.N. Rao sir. Sir, on stage, sir, as chairperson, please, sir. Please, sir. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Bhalla, with Rohit's introduction and Narayan Nitrala.
It's my proud privilege to now invite Dr. Rohit Shetty, and he's going to tell us the story of Narayan Netralaya. Narayan Netralaya is a super specialty eye care hospital in Bangalore, committed to providing quality eye care and treatment of eye disorders to all sections of society. Dr. Rohit Shetty is a cornea refractive surgeon and a clinician scientist with a keen interest in keratoconus and corneal ectatic disorders, and he is the chief mentor for the dual academic program PhD and clinical fellowship and vice chairman at Narayan Netralaya Eye Institute, Bangalore, and Maastricht University. Dr. Rohit Shetty, please.
Thank you, sir. And I just represent a team of people who made this journey so memorable. So when I asked a group of my colleagues and asked them, how would you make this journey of 40 years now? So they decided that we'll all make a small video. So I don't have a presentation because it's important that I represent this journey in a video format. I think the same problem what Sri Ganesh sir had, the same thing. I think it's loaded, but it's not coming here, right? You have to reload it. I think he had the same issue. We can use your laptop, Reshma. It's plugged.
Technology doesn't like you, Rohit.
No, sir. Even previous two speakers had the same issue. So we have a small group now.
Something to do with the Bangalore.
So, like I said in the beginning, my job was just to represent the entire team of people. And to sum up, the real journey sums up with somebody who is just finishing and going to the world outside. I think Reshma is the right person to sum up the journey of 40 years and now somebody who just joined, 2 years back and finishing up. Just take a few seconds and we are done. You don't need to say good things, you can say whatever it is. Because they're the kind of people who made this video, who summarized 40 years.
The initial video that we had made 3 years
Not
back.
about the video, I'm
No.
talking.
So when I joined 2 years back, I joined thinking that I would do a few cataracts and maybe learn a little bit of refractive and get going. I came with a very clean slate to this institute, and what I have gained is much more than what I could have possibly asked for. If I had wanted to make a checklist also, I wouldn't have been able to make the one that I'm finishing with. So that is what the institute gave me. It gave me surgical, academic, clinical, as well as research training. And so sir had told me the day I joined that I'll teach you ophthalmology, and he did the same.
No, I told you I'll
I'll
teach you life.
and
Ophthalmology you learn
you'll learn by
yourself.
yourself.
Thank
And
you.
I think he did both. Thank you.
Thank you.